Good morning, students. Let's start exercising today because we are going to study a very strong tissue named as a muscular tissue. What is coming in your mind when I'm speaking about this muscular tissue? The muscular term itself means we are talking about muscles. And what are the places in which where there are the muscles in our body? So entirely if I speak, that entirely every part of our body contains some kind of muscles. It might be the heart, it might be our arms, it might be our intestine in the stomach. Every part comprises some kind of muscles. So students, muscular tissue is a specialized tissue in animals which applies forces to different parts of the body by contraction. So that means, students, we understand that muscular tissue is especially meant for providing physical strength to our body by helping us to perform various kinds of movements, various kinds of contraction, and various kinds of elementary, voluntary, or involuntary movements. Everything is possible with the help of the muscular tissues. So, students, if we say, if I'm talking about the muscular tissue is a specialized tissue in animals which applies forces to different parts of the body by contraction. So the special property of the muscular tissue is that it really contracts. Okay. Now it is made up of thin and elongated cells called the muscle fibers. So we understand that this muscular tissue is also made up of certain cells which are thin and elongated, and we call as the muscle fibers. So the muscle fibers, we specifically give the name to muscle cells as the muscle fibers because they contract. As the fibers can contract, similarly the muscle fibers can also contract. And it controls the movement of an organism, which might be locomotion, moving your hands, legs, or the movement of, or the pumping of the heart, or the movement of peristaltic movement of the alimentary canal. Everything is possible with the help of this contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the muscular tissue. So it controls the movement of an organism which is brought about by contraction and the relaxation of contractile proteins which are present in the muscle cells. The cytoplasm in the muscle fibers is called the sarcoplasm. As the muscle tissues also contain the muscle cells, so the muscle cells, muscle fibers, which we name as the muscle cells or muscle fibers, have been given a specific name. The cytoplasm of the muscle fibers has been given a specific name, that is the sarcoplasm, and the membrane surrounding the muscle fibers is named as the sarcolemma. So students, based on that, there are some important properties of the muscular tissue, which is the contractibility, extensibility, elasticity, and excitability. So the contractibility, without contraction the muscles can't perform any function of pumping the blood to the different parts of the body with the help of the heart, or the movement of hands or the legs are possible because of contraction of the muscles, and even the peristaltic movement in the alimentary canal or the intestine is possible because of the contractibility. So it is the ability of the muscle cells to shorten forcefully, and extensibility means that the muscle has the ability to be stretched. Even they have the elasticity, that the muscles have the ability to recoil back to its original length after being stretched. And even the muscle tissues respond to a stimulus delivered from a motor neuron or the hormone. That means if I say, suppose if you touch a hot substance or a really hot substance, you immediately move your hands. That means the heat of the hot substance was the stimulus, and immediately you take your hands away. So this excitability is possible because of the muscular tissue. So in this way, these are the special properties of the muscular tissue which makes the muscular tissue really special, and it is the tissue which is giving strength, and every kind of movement and every functioning of the body is possible because of this very essential tissue, that is the muscular tissue. So we're going to study about the different types of muscular tissue, which may be the cardiac muscular tissue, skeletal muscle tissue, or the smooth muscle tissue. Today in class we are going to study about the skeletal muscle tissue. The skeletal muscle tissue is a tissue which is attached to the skeletal. These muscles are attached to the skeletals. That is why they are named the skeletal muscle tissue. And we also name it as voluntary muscle tissue, because it has a voluntary control, or the striated muscle tissue. So our first type of muscular tissue is the striated or the skeletal or the voluntary muscle tissue. So students, in the figure you can easily see this type of muscular tissue is long and elongated. There are no tapering ends. That means that the ends are a bit cylindrical. The shape of this particular cells of the striated or the voluntary muscle tissue is a bit cylindrical, and they are unbranched, they are not branched, and even they are multinucleate. You can see there are various nucleuses which are present at the periphery of this particular cell. Now students, this we should understand the different names, why the different names have been provided to this particular muscular tissue, that is the striated skeletal or voluntary muscle. That is because the muscle fibers show alternate light and dark bands. You can see in this figure, this is a light band and this is a dark band. This is a light band, this is a dark band, this is a dark band, and this is light band. In this way there are different light and dark bands. That is why it is named as the striated or the stripped muscles. Now secondly, since they are attached to the bones to perform body movements, that is why they are named as the skeletal muscles, and they work according to our will. That is why they are named as voluntary muscles, because we can walk, move our hands, we can move our biceps, triceps, and even we can do any kinds of movements. It is because it is possible because of on our own will. That is why it is named as the voluntary muscles. Now the striated muscle fibers, as I told you, are long or elongated. They are non-tapering, cylindrical, and unbranched, and multinucleated. So in this way, the nucleus is peripheral, means located just beneath the sarcolemma. We can see in this particular figure, that as I told you, sarcolemma is the plasma membrane for the muscle cells. So this is the membrane, and near the membrane, just beneath the membrane, there is a nucleus. This is the nucleus. This is just below the sarcolemma. You can see this is just below the sarcolemma. This is the nucleus that is just below the sarcolemma. And in the sarcoplasm of muscle cells are embedded large number of contractile elements named as the myofibrils. Myofibrils are rod-like substances which are present in these muscular tissues like the striated muscle tissue. Students, it is mostly present in the biceps, triceps, arms, body wall, face and neck. And even the striated muscles are present in the tongue, pharynx, diaphragm, upper part of the esophagus, and visceral striated, and that is why they are named as the visceral striated muscles, because they are present in the internal organs. That is why they are named as the visceral striated muscles, and they are present in esophagus, upper part of the esophagus, diaphragm, pharynx, and larynx, tongue. In all these different parts it is present. Now the functions of the striated muscles are powerful and undergo rapid contraction, and these muscles can get tired and may need rest. This is an important point, that these muscles, if we move our hands, if we move our legs, it can get tired. Okay, they can't move throughout their life without getting tired, or without getting tireless. In this way, the striated muscles provide the force for locomotion and all other voluntary movements of the body. So finally students, we understand that the striated muscle is important tissue which is specially meant for the locomotion and movement, or running, walking, and various other movements of the body parts. So I hope you must be able to understand this particular muscular tissue. So please draw this particular figure and write on these notes as it is, and even please note down these important points if you find it interesting, and if possible you can make the figures of the different types of cells or the fibers or these muscular tissues in a proper way. Thank you students, thank you very much.